to think big. And on Monday, it's time for us to cross that great blue ocean and go over to the European continent. He moved to the UK over a year and a half ago to the very center of London, so he could expand and have even more international opportunities, traveling frequently throughout the world where his business expertise is recognized globally. And he's here today to talk about the game of big fees. And this afternoon, he's going to even present a workshop. He's here today because you deserve to get booked for the fee that fits. Niels Brabandt.
There I was, sitting in my office, receiving an email from Shep Hyken asking me, "Are you interested to speak at NSA?" Among speakers, we normally call this rhetorical questions. Of course I am. So I had a phone call with Brian Walter because I was still very surprised that you asked me to come over here to speak about fees, which is normally a sales topic, which is normally a typically American topic. You invented sales, you own it. So I asked Brian Walter if he's really sure what he's going to sign in for. I live in London, but I'm still German. It means the presentation will be very structured, very straightforward, and as I'm German, there won't be any humor at all. And I actually still don't know why this is funny. Just don't get it. So of course I said yes. I'm not a sales speaker. I'm running a business. We're focusing on sustainable leadership, delivering training consultancy, but the main revenue driver is my speaking. People see me speak after that when they like that, and they hopefully do. They book me. They book my company, and they book my trainers, my consultants. I'm not doing this alone. Started 1998 on my own. And any time when I'm invited to panels and people tell me, what is the vision you had to have an international business? Actually, when I started my business, I was first studying ancient history to become a teacher, and I just thought being a trainer brings in more money than working somewhere else. So there was no big vision. But after that, after studying English and history, because I come from a family where anyone is working for the state, anyone. The typical job is teacher, my sister's a teacher, marrying a teacher, things like that. I decided to go for free enterprise and got fascinated by the opportunities I had by doing my own business. For numerous years, I've been booked to speak, but I had no clue at all that there actually is a speaking business. At a German HR fair in Cologne, I saw a booth of the German Speakers Association, and they approached me, "Do you want to join?" And I asked, "What do you actually do?" And they told me, "We're a Speakers Association." And that was the moment, it was just 5 years ago, where I realized there's a whole business just about speaking, a whole industry where people speak professionally. On the other hand, I saw a lot of people who at my first convention told me that they actually booked 400 days a year with $20,000 on average. And I felt really bad about that because I thought I'm really a loser in this game. Turned out to be somehow different. Nevertheless, why do you ask me to come here? You have lots of speakers in the United States who speak about fees, but I see over and over and over again that they do not succeed with the fee they ask for. Moreover, I of course know your antitrust laws, and it has been a very smart move by Shep Hyken to give the gig about fees to the one who's going to leave the country within 7 days. So you're just out of that. Actually, when I got the leaflet, the printed leaflet, my workshop isn't even in there. So that actually supported what I thought. My workshop is going to be at Balcony B, just announcing that because it's not in the printed leaflet. I went for international conventions and saw lots of speakers, some of them more successful, some of them not that successful. And the first thing I can say you, any successful speaker has one thing. They have a very, very clear point of view, a very clear say. You have something here which makes sense. I'm not going to say that you don't need that, but you call it political correctness. By the way, never say the phrase political correctness gone mad or gone wild or whatever. This phrase is used by extremely right-wing press, which immediately, in my opinion, disqualifies you as a speaker to have a saying on stage. So, but how to make a clear say without offending people? So what we did is to make it practical for you. I took the attendance list, which you get on the website. Thanks, by the way, for my team, my customers, and all the meeting planners who supported me with that. We background checked 1,271 speakers who agreed to be on this list. Now you know how Germany felt when they heard NSA in the main news on Saturday night. Actually, we have a lot of very successful people in this round, no question about that. But nevertheless, the feedback from meeting planners has been, in some cases, very, very, let's say, severely bad, to be very straightforward. 61 awards have been named as very doubtful. Numerous TV appearances have been, and I'm quoting the email, named, "We know how this works. You put money on the table to be around with someone known. We see there is no audience, and we know you paid for that." Radio appearances where people did nothing else than talking about themselves. Newspaper articles where people over-promote themselves, talking about their books, their products, and then they wonder at the end of the day that they don't get booked for that and they don't get a high fee. One leadership expert had on his website, he has been named leadership expert by press. And I clicked on that, and the newspaper was Laundry Today. And believe me one thing, when someone of my team sends me an email with a link, and I laugh about that as a German guy, it is not serious. It is really not serious. Let's imagine you have someone on the newspaper talking about him or herself over and over again. Do you think this is working? Probably not. You have someone on the radio speaking about him or herself, telling, "I'm great, I'm awesome, I'm the best in the world." Do you think this is working? Let's just imagine you have someone on like national TV standing behind a speaker podium or something, telling the nation, "I can do that because I'm really rich." Is this working? Hopefully not. I was waiting for that line for 4 weeks, believe me. So if you still skip to this principle, and this principle is nothing else than fake it till you make it, I have very bad news for you. What you try to do is not feasible. And this is indeed sad. What also is sad is, very sad indeed, is that I only took 4 pages of the attendance list of the NSA because I wasn't able to rip apart 26 pages on stage. Needs some more work out, obviously. So how to overcome this? The very first thing you need, and we're going to talk about that in depth in my workshop, you need a very good proof about your expertise. People frequently compare themselves to speakers they should not compare themselves with. For example, I just 2 days ago spoke to someone here who told me, "I don't know why Richard Branson gets $250,000 for one speech. I'm a leadership expert and yeah, well, where is your major international company and your airline you founded by yourself?" Okay. Someone else told me, "Yeah, Jeffrey Gitomer gets that amount, blah, 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 and I don't get it because I am a great sales speaker as well." The last line of Jeffrey Gitomer speaking in Paris was the line, "My name is Jeffrey Gitomer and I give value first." You have to. Thank you. Always good when you can base on one person clapping so you have something to build up on. Oh my God. Thank you. You have to prove what is your expertise. You cannot push you on that stage. You have to attract the stage. When you attract the stage comes to you. When you look at the proof, how to prove that you're really good in what you do, yesterday someone asked me, okay, how can I prove that I am really funny? First advice, don't ask a German guy about that. Second advice, don't approach a German guy. When I just arrived, I met Ron Culverson, and he said, hey, congrats for main stage, you better be good. Don't approach German with that concept, we're not really known for that. Numerous people during the last 48 hours compared themselves to Nido Qubein. Read his Wikipedia article. There you read, in 1970, he got his first degree in human relations, followed by a second degree in business. What is more important for us than human relations and business? This is followed by a massive career running really big businesses. Of course this guy is booked, because he has proven what he's talking about. We have way too many speakers who pretend to have done something, and having a clear say can go very well, or it can go horribly wrong. If you go for a point, be sure no one is unclear about what you say, because no one pays you for a maybe. When someone asks you a question, I've just been invited to a panel, and they ask me, this company is downsizing, what is your point of view about how management behaved? And they expect an answer where I say, it is okay or it's not. Don't come up with an answer like, on the one hand we have blah, 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 on the other hand we have blah, blah, blah. So somewhere in between lies the truth. Thank you. That is obvious. Putting common sense on stage does not work. And it's indeed said that someone has to state that on the main stage of NSA. It's pretty obvious. Be very clear that you have delivered first. If you deliver first, people will be interested in what you have done. We have seen very, very good people, great people who threw their life in the round to change something for good. They deserve to be heard by the world. If you claim to be heard by the world, this is not how it works. You deliver first. Just some example how it can go. Of course, you have to stick to the culture of a certain country. Until the late 80s, it has been forbidden in Zimbabwe to do jokes about fruit. For a reason, because their president was named President Banana. I'm not making this up, you can background check that. President Banana traveled to the United Kingdom, and the first person he met was Prince Philip. Some people from the UK already laugh because they know what's coming. Prince Philip approached him and said, President Banana, hope you had safe travels. Did you come alone, or is there a bunch of you? This is not good. Meeting expectations, of course, is great. I've just recently been to the Mega Million Publishing Lab of NSA, flew over to New York City, and when I arrive at the United States, I expect something a bit more entertaining. So when this whole thing has been opened, a giant man approached the stage. His tie actually was printed over with dollar signs, and he opened it with, "Hello, New York City, buckle up cheesecake, this is New York City." This is what we expect. By the way, is Michael Hoffman in the room? When I looked up where he came from, I had a certain state of the United States in mind. Texas, which was right, very surprising, but this is what we expect. He did an extremely, extremely good job. He met the expectations of the audience. When people book me and they know I'm from London, the German guy, they expect that I'm a lot more calmed down, focused on the content. One thing which is not going to work in the future, sorry, that party is over, is this typical speech of all story, no content. A great story is important, no question about that. In the United States, you are way better than we are in Europe with that. We're learning from you. But when we had the Global Speakers Network on Friday, a woman from a very well-known speaking agency said, anything that really pays, anything that makes you a living, any higher level management meeting only books content experts. Stay away from stages if you just try to talk about yourself. You can do that when you're a celebrity. Most of us are not. Some of them think they are. But indeed, they're not. So in my workshop, we're going to cover how to get this expertise on your website, in your material, how to attract clients. We're going to speak about how to deliver on stage, and we're going to speak about which channels you should use to get booked as a speaker. Because what you want is that they approach you, and not vice versa. Because when you approach them, they're going to ask themselves, okay, you're a very well-known expert. Why do you approach us? You should be booked out for months. And this contradicts your whole message. Something you should also not do is not asking for help. 10 years ago, I received an award. I was working for a training company as a contractor. My business was a lot smaller than it's nowadays. And they put all the trainers in one evaluation, and at the end of that, I've been the best of that. You can still find the video of me. I'm going to apologize for the haircut in advance, 10 years ago. So I've been on stage. It has been in Las Vegas at the Venetian, quite nice place, 2,000 people in the round. At the end, after my speech, is going to be a Q&A. Someone asked, and I will never forget that, someone asked me the question, Mr. Brabandt, we sometimes have problems that some of our participants are forced to take our classes to get a certain certification, and then they put very bad mood in the round. Do you think that this atmosphere in the classroom is contagious? And one thing was very, very clear. I grabbed the microphone, standing there in front of 2,000 people, and I did not have the slightest idea what the word contagious means. So what I did is, I thought, US, we're risk takers. I said, yes, and obviously it was the right answer because they applauded for that. This is not the way you should go. This is not the way you should go. You can give very bad answers if you go down that road. So before I'm going to see you at my workshop, I have something more to say. That may be a little difficult, but stay with me. What you all can know is that I got a history with that place. Long time ago, 70 years ago, 75 years ago, my whole family was torn apart. Left the country, most of them dead, fighting in resistance against the Nazi movement. My grandfather actually was the last one surviving, being brought to concentration camp Buchenwald. At this concentration camp, he lost half of his weight, hardly survived. It's the darkest point of history on this planet, and I am beyond proud to have the opportunity and the honor to share this stage and my knowledge with you. The generation of my grandfather has been at war with any country in this room except one, which was Japan. The generation of my parents was the generation who you taught democracy and freedom. The generation of me is the generation where you ask me if I am willing to go to Washington to speak to you. I would not be here without you. When I approached the green room and they told me to be there, 30 minutes early to my appearance on stage. It has been 9:15 a.m. 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time is the time 3:15 p.m. in Germany. The time where on April 11th, Frederick Keffer, US Third Army, freed concentration camp Buchenwald, putting the foundation for everything you just see here. I would not be here without what you have done for me, for my country, and for all of us. So I have one very personal thing to say, and I'm going to wrap this up with 3 sentences I wanted to say my whole life in this place where it all began. Vive la France, God save the Queen, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.